twin, we just call me love a friend. I guess it is what it is. Hey, tell me what's going on. Yeah, girl, this may not be your favorite song. Cause baby, every week you switch up. Switch up. So much.
3, 2. All right, we are back, folks, with Power Book 3, Raising Kanan episode. A lot of them. But it's episode 5 we're going to start with. We're going to kind of do a little mashup here because we are a little behind. We went out of town.
Yeah.
But we're back. So we're going to do 5, 6, and then we're going to separate when we get caught back up for episode 7 because that just came out this week. So let's go ahead and get started with episode 5. It's called Choose Your Battles.
All right, so we open up the show with Kanan getting dressed, getting ready for school. He's going through, a couple different outfits, and he lands on wearing his D-Wiz Air Force Ones. He bends down to clean up some blood off of his shoe, but that doesn't matter because when he gets downstairs, his mom is at the table with the bloody shirt that she found underneath his bed on top of the table, basically asking for an explanation about who blood is this and where did it come from. Kanan ended up lying to her about what happened at the stash house, and then we flash to the detectives at the stash house saying that obviously a crime has been committed there. They left the blood on the floor. They left his throw up on the floor. I'm like, bro, DNA is swimming.
CSI, like.
Right. DNA is swimming all over this daggone trap house. But that's neither here nor there.
All right.
Next we see Rock. She meeting with the brothers. And, of course, Marvin is eating. And they talk about the stash house incident. And basically, Rock is like, I know Kanan was there. I don't know why he was there. At this point, I don't really care because I told you to stay away from him and for him to stay away from that spot. And Marvin tries to soothe it over by telling her all this stuff that happened Soulja Boy style. It was a very interesting scene. Whenever they get together, it's always a funny scene because you already know what's going to happen.
They're about to get into Marv's ass.
Yeah.
Lulu gonna get a little bit of praise, and Lulu gonna make fun of him.
Lulu gonna read. He always reading something, a newspaper, magazine, something. So basically, Rock chews him out and tells him that she's tired of cleaning up his mess and cleaning up after him, which I don't blame her. Kanan is coming around to the architecture class that Symphony is giving, and he basically gives him a little speech about why certain highways were built and positioned where they were and where certain bridges were, and Kanan kind of internalizes this as information to use later. So Symphony ends up giving Kanan his number, and Kanan ends up giving Symphony his blessing to date his mom, I guess.
Which he probably didn't even need.
I was like, whatever. I don't even.
But whatever. I feel like that was just like him kind of saying,
coming to terms.
You know what I'm saying? You're all right, and I might someday trust you. You know what I'm saying? It was kind of like a trust thing, I felt like.
Yeah. Building blocks. So, we flash back to Rock's house, and we found out a little bit of backstory on Marvin and why he always trying to, seem to me like prove himself, but act like he too cool to have to prove himself. So we find out that Marvin has been in jail before. We find out that Jukebox's mom was the girl that Marv was in love with, and she ended up having Juke while he was locked up. She started sleeping around. He said, Lou said she cheated on him with a Knicks player and ended up smashing the whole league or the whole team or something. They get to fighting in front of Rock's house. And the funny thing is the cops come past and they don't even get out the car to break up the fight.
Don't make me get out that car.
They just like, they sound like some parents when their kids upstairs doing something crazy.
Right.
You're like, hey, don't make me come up there. Right. So that basically breaks up the fight. Then we flash to Detective Howard. He's
Big Head.
He's back at the doctor, and he finds out that neither one of his cousins are a match for him. So that's kind of solemn news. He don't really have any other family. Then they show him standing outside smoking a cigarette, and I'm just like,
that's why you're in this damn predicament.
exactly. People are like, their health just.
I'm telling you, bro, it'll be the first thing. Like, people tell me all the time when, for example, even in my family, I had an uncle that was in a coma, and the first thing he said as soon as he came out of the coma, that was 5 months long or whatever the case may have been, I need a cigarette.
And you would think, if you've been in the coma for 5 months, that's the last thing on your mind.
Nigga, you quit cold turkey and didn't even know it.
Exactly. You don't need nothing. Anywho, Juke, Fame, and Kanan are at the bodega. Famous was trying to flirt with Juke about basically coming to the studio and all this other stuff. And where she been, she must be with somebody.
Glowing and she
don't let him find out because it's supposed to be him and all this other stuff. And Kanan basically like, she is not thinking about you. So Kanan moves the conversation to Davina, and Juke is basically trying to tell him without telling him that she believes that Davina is the one who set up the situation with
snitched
the house.
up the situation about the stash house.
Right, and then Kanan he was reading between the lines, but was trying to check her, like, are you saying what I think you're saying? And Famous was like, yeah, what I think she's saying is Davina the one who set up your mama's stash and da-da-da-da. So he's loud all as loud hell
inside of the new stash house.
Right, in the public place, like, all bad. Jukebox storms out because she's already agitated at Fame. And then Kanan storms out behind Jukebox. And they're outside basically bickering. Kanan saying the red is scrap. And that he'll handle it. And Jukebox is saying Scrap is loyal. And like, he'll never, hold secrets.
Or betray the family.
Yeah, from Rock or betray the family. And then Kanan flipped it on his head and was like, well, I got secrets too. Or Scrap ain't the only one with secrets. Or something to that effect, where he was
talking about some high
threatening.
audio, dirty laundry out about, her coming out or whatever the case is, which was kind of it was bold and wrong, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because for them to be cousins and they don't have no ill type of relationship, why would you do that to her? Right. Especially over a girl, just a random girl that you like, a high school crush. That it ain't like you about to marry the girl.
He don't care. That's in his mind. This is a serious relationship, and I'm just like,
I mean, it must be serious. He had to kill homeboy to get her with her.
She's with you by default because there ain't nobody else to be with. Right. So I'm just like, whatever. Next we see Rock at the ghetto high rise, and
ghetto high rise.
No, I call it the ghetto penthouse. The ghetto penthouse, and Marvin meets up with her there, and she's basically like, this is the new spot. We're going to sit here. We're going to have a bird's eye view of the hood. We're going to be able to see who coming, who going, and we'll just be, closer to the action without having to look over our shoulder with Neek as much as being on the corners. We're actually in the place where we can serve the people. So Marvin is just like, oh, this dope. This be a new spot, a good spot for you and Kanan. And I'm just like, what makes you think she gonna move her son out of a house into the middle of the hood? But whatever. He was called there so he could be muscle to kind of rough up the tenant that's living there, so they would be willing to, take Rock's proposal and walk away from the apartment so that she can get the apartment. So we flash to Fame, and he finally gets Juke to come to the studio. Kanan is in his room looking for something later when Rock comes in the house, and Rock is basically he's telling Rock that, she's playing him 1 foot in, 1 foot out the game. And that's how he always keeps getting into stuff, because she just won't let him in. She won't teach him the game, Ghost. So she was like, Kanan, what do you want from me? And he basically says, teach me how to cook. And she says she'll think about it. And I'm like, what makes you think that this is a good idea?
Like, what does he need to learn how to cook crack for? I'm just like, I guess he want to hustle his own rocks, I guess, so whatever.
She never even asked him, why do you want to learn that specific part of it?
Yeah.
It's just weird. It's weird all around. Horrible parenting. But this is a TV show. So whatever.
I mean, well, I guess he was more so saying if something happened to her, he need to be able to carry the family business on.
I guess.
Whatever.
I don't understand why she don't cook. I mean, she knows how.
But if he was
Push
left
come
out,
to shove.
yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean,
it had to start over again.
I guess. So, they leave it at that, and Rocky's like, all right, wherever you about to go, I'll just take you because I'm on my way out. So Kanan lies, and he's just like, oh, I was looking for some quarters. I'm about to go to the arcade. Rocky's like, okay, cool, I'll drop you off.
Was he looking for a gun?
Hmm?
Was he looking for a gun?
I don't know what, I don't remember what he was looking for.
Oh, okay.
But, she was like, okay, let's go. So they go. Rock drops him off at the arcade. Across the street, we see Detective Howard and Rookie Cop, and they're, have been trailing Rock all day. So Rookie Cop is basically like, Detective Howard was basically like, we gonna follow him instead of following her. She was like, I thought we were following Rock. And he was like, yeah, to get to the Queen, sometimes you gotta go through the Prince. They end up following him all the way to wherever Scrappy Hood is. He out there shooting dice. Kanan roll up on him.
Hostile.
And, right, he came in hot. And he basically was like, I know what you did. You set us up. You betrayed the family. Woo-de-woo-de-woo. And Scrappy's like, look, off the strength of who you are, I'm going to let this slide. But stay out of grown folks' business, basically. Of course, Kanan keeps pressing the issue. And did he push him or did he punch him? He swung on him. Didn't connect. So next thing you know, they tussling in the alley. Detective Howard lets them fight for a little bit. And then, whoop whoop, comes out the car, breaks him up, puts them into two separate cars, which I was like, I could have sworn him and Rookie Cop were in the same car.
I think he called for backup.
Okay. He called for backup. It was just a weird look to me. So he hauls them down to the station. Basically, he's just trying to get, Kanan by himself. Mm-hmm. Next, we see Rock at the bodega stash, and Ike is there, of course, watching her every move, trying to renegotiate, and she's basically like, we don't renegotiate, and if we do, it has to get physical. So he kind of backs off and let her does her thing. Meanwhile, Detective Howard is with Kanan at the station, and Kanan's lip is bleeding. He offers him a handkerchief, and like an idiot, Kanan takes it and puts all his DNA yet again on something in front of detectives or for detectives to use. I don't even know, when did DNA become a huge thing legally?
He ain't used the blood anyway.
He didn't, but that's the first thing my mind went to.
Yeah, it was.
So,
he asked him his name and his date of birth and everything. How old he was. He was like, dang, I thought you were younger than this, or
older.
Older?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, older than that. And then, he was sitting there and he was explaining, he was like, what does that have to do with anything? He was like, well, so ask your mom about me, man. Me and your mom, Rock, we go way back. Like, he said way back. Like, honestly, it kind of rubbed me the wrong way. I was like, so what you trying to say, man? You fuck my mom's, B? Like, so it kind of went to that little level. Like, yeah, man, she know me real good. You know what I mean?
And I was just like, oh, he is daddy.
Well, damn.
No, I'm just saying. Literally in my notes, I was like, where am I?
Well,
I said maybe DEFCON ain't Kanan's real dad. It was the way he asked him about his birthday and was like, wait, I thought you said you were 15.
Like it lined up with a time when they were dating or something.
Right,
like
because he had been playing a character this whole time in front of Kanan. He was good cop. Then Kanan gave him some information that he didn't account for or already know. Like, he was already one step ahead of him until Kanan gave him his age. And he was like, wait, what? I thought you was older than that. And I was like, oh, okay. This is the nod to let us know something ain't right.
Right.
And you know, I already know can guess shows and stuff a lot of times, so that's automatically what I thought. Then we see.
So basically, he ends up calling someone down there, but he knew he couldn't call his mom. He knew because of what he did with Scrap. He knew he couldn't call his uncles because of what he did with Scrap. So the only person that he had at his disposal to call at this point was Symphony.
Right.
So he ends up calling. We didn't know who he called, but he made a call out, and as you know, Symphony comes down there and bails him out basically. Well, not bail him out, but come picks him up essentially because they said that he needed a guardian to come get him or whatever the case was. But he was like, this ain't, you know what I'm saying, this ain't no legal guardian or whatever the case is, like family or whatever.
But Symphony was already smart because he was like, is he under arrest?
Right.
Like, you're not holding him here for anything lawful. Doesn't matter who comes to get him.
All right, this is just a ride.
That's null and void in this predicament. And the whole
Smart
time,
ass guy.
right, very wise.
Yeah. And
And the whole time, Scrap is sitting back at rookie cop desk, watching all of this go down. So you see Detective Howard, once Kanan leaves, looks up in the database, DEFCON's record, what time he was in and out of jail, and he pretty much has this knowing like look, and he looks down at the handkerchief that Kanan stupidly left on the table, and we flash to Famous in the recording studio rapping. Crown is like, people ain't trying to hear whatever it is you and they're talking about. They want to. He was like, they want to hear something real.
Yeah, real raw.
So, as soon as he said that, I was like, Lord, it's about to go downhill because Famous about to start talking about
Famous
the street
ain't about
stuff.
that life.
Right? He just gonna start talking about the street stuff
that he ain't had nothing to do with, but he was around.
Yeah, but that don't need to be put on wax.
That too.
That's snitching on yourself.
Pretty much.
So I'm just like, yeah, this about to be bad.
This isn't gonna work out.
They were looking for a female who was supposed to sing the hook for the track or whatever that Famous was doing, and according to the engineer, he was like, she ain't coming. You ain't pay her last time. He was like, matter of fact, you owe me and some more people. So Lou is there in the corner with Jessica, and he basically is like, well, how much, he owe you? So Crown looks over at Lou like, oh, you gonna handle that for me? And flicks off some money, gives it to the engineer. The engineer like, oh, by the way, the dudes down the hall who work here, they ain't been paid either with the rest of my people. So Crown is just basically like, dude, calm down. And Lou like, don't worry about it. We gonna go ahead and make that happen too. So he tells Juke to go ahead and get in the booth. And Juke is like sitting there nervous, trying to figure out what's going on, whether she want to do it or not. And Crown is like, come on, you like, get moving. Time is money. And Lou is like, nah, nigga, money is money. And I was like, that is a very poignant observation. And it's true.
Elaborate.
What? No, because you just hear people say time is money. And it's not.
No, because they're saying that you're wasting time and it costs my money with this time that you're wasting.
But if you ain't have no money, time don't mean nothing. So money is money, like Lou said.
Yeah. So,
Juke ends up getting in the booth and she sings. Of course, she sings well. Everybody's surprised. Everybody's happy. Yay. Go Juke.
Go Juke.
We flash to Kanan. He's talking to Symphony in the car, and he's basically pleading with him not to tell Rock about the situation. And Symphony is, even though he doesn't really like it, he knows that in order to build trust with Kanan, they gotta have some kind of, relationship outside of Rock themselves. So he's still looking at trying to get an end, with Kanan. And this is the opportunity. So he agrees not to tell her, but also not to make keeping secrets from her a habit.
If she asks about it, I'm going to tell her.
Right. So, Rock rolls up on Scrap. Obviously, she's heard about the fight in the hood between her son and him. And he tells her that he only fought Kanan to protect his rep. If won't nobody out there, it wouldn't have been, that deep. And she's like, I know, I understand. Get in the car. And you see them drive off. Next, we see Juke at Nicole's house. And Nicole likes the song. She lets her hear The Streets Need a Body. And they have a little cute moment talking about, black people and white people differences as far as food or whatever. They make out. They dry hunch, and Nicole's mom walks in and sees her.
Lord have mercy.
All bad. She calls her dad, and the mom just goes off yelling at Juke, telling her to get out of the house. She not welcome.
You scum.
She's scum and all this stuff. The whole time the daddy's like, what is going on?
Well, somebody tell me
happening?
what in the world's going on.
I'm just like, this is a crap show. This is a full-blown crap show.
And then the mama was making it seem like Jukebox was the one who coerced her
you
into.
You took advantage of her.
You took advantage of my sweet baby girl.
And I'm just like, little do you know, Juke ain't never been with no girl. Yeah, your daughter is showing her the ropes.
Fast ass.
What movie was that when it was like, your daughter's a freak? Was it Martin? It wasn't a show. It wasn't a Martin show. It was a movie.
It might have been House Party.
No, it wasn't House Party. It was something more recent. Anyway, y'all be able to tell us what it is in the comments. So next we see, Rock. She's in the kitchen, reluctantly teaching Kanan how to cook, and basically this is in exchange for him listening to her without question. And I'm like, girl, just see your son for who he is. He's gonna lie because you keep telling him not to do stuff. Just let him do something.
Keep him away from it all. Granted, he gonna fuck up either way it goes because he's not good at this shit at all.
She needs to bring him in
and literally keep him under her wing.
Not even that
for a couple weeks.
She need to bring him in with the uncles when they had a meeting, and it be the two of them sitting there and her. Kanan needs to be involved so he can know what's
that
what.
too, because he be so wrong.
I just feel like even if you don't let him
put input in,
or put in work, he'll be aware of what's going on. But whatever. She's teaching him how to cook. And next we see Scrappy meeting with Neek. Obviously, Rock has set him up to be the inside man. And I'm just like, I don't know how this gonna go. Then you see Marvin at the ghetto penthouse. He getting the plans together for demolition because they're gonna connect the floor under the bottom to the floor and the top with a little drop chute in the kitchen to move drugs. And I'm like, that was a clever idea. We'll see how well this works. Then we see Lou having sex with Jessica. And I guess what's going to be his new office, because he done paid all of Crown's debt, and he pretty much owned the label now. And then we see Detective Howard coming up to Rock one night when she's outside taking the trash out, basically checking her about when she actually had Kanan, and telling her, like, Defcon was in jail at the time that you could have conceived him. Y'all won't messing with each other around then. Is Kanan my son? And she never says yes or no. She's basically like, stay away from my son. And then walks away. And that's the end of episode 5.
Alright, so let's go ahead and get her into episode 6 here, which is entitled Level Up.
The show opens up with Rock paying a visit to the trap penthouse. She's meeting with the inspector to try to smooth over the reno. We see the landlord, who's just always skittish and frantic about everything.
I told you that the guy was going to come. He wasn't going to approve. He wasn't going to like this.
Right. Rock got on her little freakum dress. And it worked. She got a private meeting with the inspector. And I'm just like,
8 o'clock.
Right. And come alone or whatever he said. I'm like, I know.
Sure it's alone.
I say this is not going to end well for him. But whatever.
Whatever he think it is.
Right.
He think he about to get happy ending.
we see Detective Howard talking to the doctor about a transplant. He looks slim and
Sickly.
just, I don't know, like he's concocting some kind of plan. So we see Lou next. He's been a cash cow for Crown Camacho. They at the venue, and basically he got to pay the lighting guy. He got to pay this guy. He got to pay somebody who was like, last time you didn't pay me. So in order for me to take my stuff off the truck and set up, you got to pay me.
The crazy thing is now though, Marv and Rock is there. So Marv and Rock is there, ain't they? So they they see him paying all the shit. Like, man, what the fuck going on right now? Like, so you out here footing bills now? Like,
right.
Yeah.
Rock wasn't happy. She like, you taking my money and doing this with my money, and he's like, no, this is my money. So she's just like, look.
Once you're done playing little A&R guy,
see, she
we got
was
business
like,
to take care of.
You can have it, have fun for right now, but don't forget first things first. So Lou ends up paying a visit to Neek, and basically he's telling him, look, I got this showcase and I want to call a truce for tonight. Neek looks at him, he agrees, and then once Lou leaves, he looks at Scrappy and this other soldier, and he's basically like, screw everything I just told him.
Mind you, they hid Scrappy. I said, mind you, they hid Scrappy.
Oh yeah, Scrappy wasn't in the room when this meeting happened. He was in the back room somewhere.
Because you know he turncoat.
He what?
Turncoat.
Oh, yeah. So, Rock later goes and confronts Kanan about the particulars of being picked up by Detective Howard, because you remember Detective Howard came to her at the end of the last episode, and pretty much she's trying to make sure that he didn't imply anything to Kanan to make him think that his father isn't who she told him he was. Kanan was like, nah, he just brought me in there, asked me how old I was, told me that he know you from back in the day. Nothing really. Nothing big. Then Symphony, came and picked him up. So, of course, he left that part out. Dean was supposed to meet Marvin for the re-up. That ain't happened. Marvin coming in, he like, I don't know what's up, but he didn't come to the spot. So, we gonna need to reach out to him. Nicole visits the hood to see Juke. She shows up at Juke's house, and all is well in their world.
Yeah.
Rock visits Dean at the bingo hall, and I feel sorry for Grandma, because every time Rock show up, this man gotta turn down her hearing aid.
But
I'm just like,
this time I don't know how she did it.
That's what I said.
I'm like, she partially deaf in one ear or what? Like,
I said, this lady ain't gonna never win bingo. And then lo and behold,
bingo.
You so messed up. Anywho, she wins bingo, and then it's basically telling Rock like, you so messed up. She wins bingo, and then it's telling Rock like,
hey, we got a winner here. No, I'm sorry, that's what he said.
Okay, we got it.
That part was so funny to me.
It is. Dean is telling Rock like, you done f***ed up, right? Like,
I can't supply you no more.
I can't supply you. You flipped one of my soldiers, and basically he said that he would tell you what happened, where he at, if he was here to tell you. He did. And he's just basically like, Nick already done stepped in, done swooped up your supply and his supply, so I washed my hands of the situation. And I'm like, that's very diplomatic of him, because
he could have just did some fucked up shit.
Yeah, he could have met with Marvin, or had somebody out there to set Marvin up, shoot him, or whatever, to prove a point. But I was like, girl, you got off a little smooth. Rock loses her connect, and Smurf is dead, which is the door guy. So Kanan wants to sell crack at the gas station on the freeway. He calls his Uncle Marvin. He takes him out to the gas station near the freeway where the white people be at. And he basically gives him his idea. And Marvin is like, this ain't a half bad plan. Let me set some stuff in motion and I'll get back to you.
But he was more so saying, your mama said your ass is off limits. So
right.
Ain't no way in hell we gonna have your ass out here. I don't know why this nigga want to be in the fucking trenches.
He want to be a corner boy, I guess.
This shit is stupid.
Very much so. Given very much dumb. Came with a bag full of money, and I guess their wires were crossed because he thought he was gonna get some, and she thought she was gonna pay him off.
She knew that he wanted
well,
some.
She knew because she had a backup plan. He tried to force himself on her. She falls to the floor. They do the whole scruff.
Basically, like he about to rape her.
Right. She picked up a sledgehammer just within reach. Bow. Knocks him across the head. So it flashes to the showcase. The rookie detective is outside without Howard. Scrappy and his friends are prepping to do Unique's bidding. And Juke is in the bathroom having a meltdown, puking, and just going crazy.
Luckily, Nicole.
In comes Nicole. Of course, Famous introduces himself, trying to flirt with her, gives her a hood nickname, White Girl Nick. Kanan comes and meets Nicole for the first time and goes and tries to calm Juke down before the performance. But of course, in order to do that, they have to kind of talk about a little bit about their little falling out because I guess they haven't spoken since that time. Flashback to Rock and Symphony. Rock ends up getting out of the situation with the inspector because Marvin comes over and basically handles the situation. She goes to the showcase. Symphony is there at the bar and she chews him out because she obviously finds out that he was the one who came and got Kanan. And she was like, you trying to come between me and my son. I told you my son is off limits. Da 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 da. Totally overreacts, breaks up with him.
Extremely
and then goes to leave. Hot mess. Then we flash back to Nicole up on the balcony with Jessica. And there was a dude unruly outside the club. He come in, he flirting with everybody and trying to get people to smoke or do whatever. Crown comes over. He rolls a joint and it was laced with coke, crack. I don't know what it was laced with. And Nicole turns down a drink. So I'm like, oh, she don't drink, she don't smoke. She's there to support her girlfriend. Next thing I know, she's smoking a blunt laced with crack. And I'm just like, Lord, she an addict.
After watching Snowfall, bro, Snowfall that made it seem like
you take
once
one
you hit that shit, you done for, bro.
Right.
Like, you legit done for, bro. And I was just like, she about to die.
It was a hot mess.
Nikki on crack rock.
So, not your mama on crack rock. So, we flash to Marvin meeting up with the corner boys, and basically he was like, yo, I got this idea. He basically takes Kanan's idea and has them working on the freeway. And of course, at the gas station, the dude's like, yo, we've been waiting on this moment. Like, it's been dry out here. Let's go. So they ready to put in the work. Flashback to the club. Everyone is
having a good time.
They perform.
What ended up happening, though, is Juke came out there ready to go.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Famous was nervous as hell. It was really weird.
The roles kind of reversed because when they get to the stage, Famous is all jittery, and Juke is like, "Okay, I'm good. I'm my regular stuff again." She's charismatic. She get crowd participation going, and
gonna put their hood up,
and they perform the song. I guess this is Kanan's first time hearing the song. Because he's standing there bopping, and then he's slowly realizing he's telling the story of what
happened to Buck 20.
What happened to Buck. So he like vibing to the music, but also like is scared that, you know, people gonna put two and two together.
Right. So Scrap and Unique's dude ends up getting to the club or whatever, and basically, granted, it's a lot of people out here. So Rock just left after cussing out Symphony.
Mm-hmm.
Detective Big Head and Young Chick, or was it just? It was just the Rookie.
It was just Rookie.
Rookie was out there, so I'm just like, damn, it's a lot of shit that can go wrong right now. So Scrap and Unique's crony pulls up to the club or whatever, and they get the pistols and everything, and they were like, all right, well, we can't go through the front door because, you know, it's hot up there. So they were like, well, I got a way. They found a little back door opening, bust the glass through, hop in, and basically they set their eyes on taking out Lulu.
Yeah. The whole time, Scrap don't know who they hitting.
Right.
So he just kind of following old dude lead. But of course, Rock plays chess, not checkers. They already had like a plan in motion. So when Lou, you know, keeping his head on the swivel, looks around, sees Scrap throw him the signal, like something about to go down. And Lou just out of nowhere hauls out, punches the most random dude.
Right.
And the fight breaks out. Next thing you know,
causing commotion.
Shots ring out, commotion. Of course, everybody scatter and everybody running. We look and we see the two dudes, Scrap, the other guy, they running down the back stairwell. Scrap turn around to say something to the dude, and he got a gun to his face. And he basically like, oh, you thought Unique was stupid?
Yeah.
Like you thought this was random and we was just gonna believe it? So it flashes to the next scene. Everybody getting some.
Bro, it was so wild.
It was
bro.
like
literally everybody
six different people having sex. Famous was in the bathroom with a Becky. Kanan and Davina was about to get it in. Who else was it?
But she got the condom first.
Oh yes. Oh, Lou and Jessica were in the back seat of the limo. It was just a lot. I'm like,
the only ones that wasn't having sex was Rock and Symphony.
Right, because they had just broke up. Exactly, for once. Because they always
but
so we
was
flashed.
it Nikki and no? Okay.
Just the six of them. So we flashed to Rock sitting in the house, smoking her cigarette, all shaky, and she can't even get together. I'm like, girl, I don't know what shaky from the almost R word, or if it was the breakup with Symphony. And then we see Kanan sneaking into the house with his night out with Davina. They show Rock laying in the bed, dead to the world. I thought she was gonna be waiting up in the dark for him, for real.
The whole time.
He get in, he about to start undressing. Next thing you hear, police style knock at the door.
Goo, goo, goo.
And then tires screeching. Rock grabs her gun. Kanan runs behind her downstairs. They open the door, and there lies Scrap, beat, bloody.
I thought he was dead.
I
had a
was
scar
like,
on his eye, like motherfucking Simba had scratched him or some
I
shit.
was like, he still must be alive, because his other eye that wasn't scarred up was twitching. And that was the end of episode 6. So what do you think about those two? It was a lot.
It was, to
So
be
much
honest, I
stuff
felt like
be
they just set that
happening.
man Scrap up, man. But
That's what I ain't want it for him.
not for him.
I didn't want it for him. But I was like,
It's
what
good,
was the
though.
point?
But you know, it's like you
For a
can
little
feel
bit
it.
of intel?
She just wanted to keep an eye on him just so they wouldn't get caught off guard, I felt. But
Yeah.
I think since Unique already knew that was the deal, he was like, well, let's just go cause any type
Do
of
it
commotion.
anyway, yeah.
So we can try to, see if it is fake
Yeah.
or if it's real. So, also, though, like you can tell that it's about to be they're in an all-out war right now. Everybody's at a hold up and a standstill as far as supply.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just
It's gonna get bad for it. It's gonna get, what they say, it's gonna get worse before it get better.
Yeah.
So That was episode. That was episode 5 and 6.
Stay tuned for episode 7.
Yeah, we're about to drop episode 7. It should be a link somewhere up here. I don't know where I'm pointing, but it's gonna be somewhere at the top. We can just click and go to episode 7. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Where your notes at, bro?
I got notes. I just kept it real slim. Because we said we was going to kind of try to trim it down.
Have happened in that.
Right. That you do power.
Okay.
And I just fill in.